Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for a special edition of BAF PERMUTE. We are so happy to have you tuning in today to join us. It is our special Valentine's Olympics and New York Fashion Week edition. We have a wonderful couple here with us today. The couple behind the studio that designed Nigerian 2022 Winter Olympic opening ceremony outfit, as well as the kit for the country for the Olympics. I'm going to introduce them in a moment, but before then, just a bit about BAF, Bias in African Fashion. My name is Udo. I am one of the co-founders of Bias in African Fashion. And I'm going to let my co-founder introduce himself.
My name is Papa, and I'm the other co-founder.
Great. So Bias in African Fashion, or BAF for short, is an organization that was started fairly recently, just in 2020. And we started with the aim to really help drive dialogue around areas of inclusion and fashion on the continent of Africa, and to see how we can help drive solutions to eliminate bias, abuse, and prejudice in Africa's fashion sector. And PERMUTE is a series that we have regularly online to help us learn and talk to individuals who are in the fashion sector globally, so we can hear their stories, their experiences, and about their work in the fashion sector. So again, we're happy to have some special guests with us today. Today our guests are Jordan Jackson and Danielle McCoy. They're the founders and co-owners of Amen Studio, based out of Portland, Oregon in the US. And they recently initially came into the limelight when, after the design, Nigeria's, as I mentioned before, Nigeria's Winter 2022 Olympics team uniforms for the opening ceremony particularly, and also the kit for the Olympics. So with that, I'm gonna bring them up. We look forward to hearing their story and engaging more with them. So welcome, Jordan and Danielle.
Thank you. Nice to be here with you all. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for honoring the invitation.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll go right into it. So I guess we want to just learn a bit more about your company. Tell us about Amen Studio.
So Amen Studio is our collaborative creative practice and design consultancy. Both Jordan and I have backgrounds in design. Jordan is an apparel designer and I'm a graphic designer. And once we kind of started dating and things got serious, we kind of learned pretty quickly, I think, from our conversations and our mutual interest that we work well together, and we wanted an outlet outside of our full-time jobs to express ourselves, to collaborate. And so that is how Amen was born.
Interesting. Very nice. I like that. So how did you guys meet? We're gonna go into this. How did you?
I will let Jordan tell the story.
Yeah. So I moved to Portland in 2017. I came from Baltimore, which is where I'm originally from. And when I got here to Portland, I was working for Adidas, and our Black Employee Group put on an art show. And in this art show, there were different exhibits and different installations and stuff set up from different, just different people around Portland. Some of them were at other companies, and the company that Danielle worked for at the time, a photographer from her job actually put up a whole little installation that basically showed like women of color at their office in like a gradient from like light to dark. And so, I was there enjoying the art, and I saw this photo exhibit, and I asked, I was like, are these models, or are they in, the area? Who are these people? Like, oh, these are all women that work at our office. And I was like, oh, I'd like to meet that one right there. So
Not slick.
I pointed at her
She's
picture.
stunning.
And you know, like, oh, we'll introduce you. And I was like, they just playing, they're not really going to introduce us. But eventually, you know, we got introduced and we got a chance to meet, and it all worked out from there. And
Wow, awesome.
yeah, we'll be married for a year. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Wow.
So I was literally just going to ask that, what are the challenges that you guys face as a couples, and what are also the advantages working
Yeah.
together as a couple?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to start, Jay.
yeah, well, I'll say one of the challenges we have is also probably an advantage, right? So one of the challenges is that sometimes, you know, when we both are working together, one's like opinion might feel stronger than the other, you know, but at the same time, we both have like different experiences and backgrounds. So those opinions can also be our strength, you know? So what we try to do is like temper like how we give feedback to each other and how we, you know, put our ideas forward to make sure that the other one doesn't feel like the idea is not being heard, you know? But at the same time, our different ideas come and it really helps build like really beautiful things. So yeah, so it's a challenge, but it's also an advantage.
And I guess I think another advantage is, you know, like we're married, and so we are already our full selves around each other, you know, in a way that you can't necessarily be maybe in a corporate setting. And I guess it is a disadvantage as well, because, you know, sometimes if something's going on, if there's another like disagreement outside of the work setting, you know, you kind of have to quickly reconcile that to get to the work and to get to the, you know, the unified goal. But it's a beautiful thing, and it has been a beautiful experience for me, especially being more introverted, to know that I can be my full self with Jordan. And I think that brings a, you know, a different level of comfort, and also facilitates creativity in a really unique way.
Yeah, I love that.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Amazing.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about your backgrounds? Can we talk a bit about that? How did you get into design? Did you guys go to design school? For those who may be interested in doing similar to what you're doing now, how can they get into that same career path?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Antigua and Barbuda in the West Indies, and I did not know that design was a viable career at all. You know, most people growing up, and I guess the ideal of success growing up was lawyers, doctors, engineers, you know, that type of thing. But I will say that I come from a pretty creative family, and so my parents always encouraged, you know, my creative pursuits. I thought I was going to study English and perhaps be a literature teacher, but by, I guess, some miracle, I came across this school called Savannah College of Art and Design at a career fair. And my sister was the one that pointed it out to me, and I kind of applied on a whim and ended up at SCAD in Atlanta. And I did not know anything, again, even at that point, about design. I picked my major as advertising because it was the only major I kind of knew, I thought I knew about. I've seen ads on TV. So I was like, I can do that, maybe. And as I took classes and, you know, I had some really great professors, I found myself in graphic design, and it felt very related in the realm of communication and you know, just usefulness in the same way that English and literature did for me. And so that's how I ended up in graphic design.
And, I'm originally from Baltimore. I was born there and I grew up in Prince George's County, outside of Washington, D.C. And so growing up, I was always, you know, a kid that would draw and stuff like that. I was big into sports. but I didn't really know much about design, like as a specific career, just like Danielle. When I was in high school, I started to paint t-shirts. So I had my own clothing line where I was painting t-shirts by hand. I used to sell stuff at different like markets and things around the city. But when I got to college, I really got deep into, art a lot more. I went to Morehouse College. I was in Atlanta at the same time as Danielle. We never met
Never
actually
met.
when we were in college, but
Wow.
I had actually got exposed to design through some people that I knew who went to her school actually. So that was even funny that we could have probably crossed paths back then, but we didn't even know. And so being exposed to fashion design and like design school as like a concept, I was really encouraged to apply. So I applied to the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. They had a menswear program. And there I was able to learn everything from pattern making, sewing, tailoring, illustration, design on a computer with Adobe Illustrator and all that kind of stuff. And I really got a good foundation in a really quick, like 2-year kind of like crash course program where I was able to get a job in design right out of school. And so that was really how I got into fashion design, apparel design.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I really like that. And I think from both of your stories, one thing I can see is that both of you didn't know really about design as a career. And I think that's probably the same for a lot of people of color, at least in the US, I can say we don't tend to think of design as something that we can make a career of. So I wonder if that has changed in more recent years. But that's definitely something to think about and to look into to see how we can really position and show young people more that there is a way to make a career out of design, out of your creative side. So I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess let's get into the design that you now did for Nigeria's team. Can you tell us about kind of how you got involved in that process? How did you guys get pulled into the team to work on that? And also maybe talk us through your thinking process as to how you came up with the designs that you did.
Yeah. So it goes back to, I would say, summer 2021. I got a DM on Instagram from Lanny Smith, who is the founder of Actively Black. And he messaged me out of the blue and was saying like, I've started this Black-owned activewear company, and I have some projects that I need your help on, and I'm looking for Black design talent to help me build this brand up. So I had worked at Adidas, Under Armour at this time, and I was like, I would love to do work for a Black-owned sports apparel brand. Like, that's been one of my dreams, one of the things that I've always wanted to do. So
Did you know him before then?
Hmm?
Or did you know Lanny Smith before he reached out to you?
I-
It was just okay. Oh,
I-
very nice.
So I had been seeing Actively Black ads come up on my Instagram timeline, but I had never known who he was. And so we hit it off really well, and we started working on a project. And he actually hit me a couple of days later and was like, you know what? We got to pause on this project. Something real big just came in, and we're gonna have to switch gears and start on that. And he was like, it's the Winter Olympic uniforms for the Nigerian bobsled team. And so we were like, what? This is crazy. So we switched gears, and we got on a call with Sheun Adigun, who is the founder of the Bobsled Skeleton Federation in Nigeria. And she gave us the whole rundown that basically this would be the second time that they would be in the Olympics. They had a debut in 2018. And then there were other athletes who will also be representing Nigeria in the Olympics who will also want to be outfitted as well. So we had some conversations with Sheun, and she really like gave us the backstory. We got kind of an understanding of like what they want to represent. And we felt that Actively Black as a brand was a perfect pairing, you know, like really history making, you know, the first African nation to be in the Summer and Winter Olympics, you know. So we were like, let's go all in on this. And we designed the entire kit, and we tried to make it be as authentic to, you know, Nigerian culture as possible, but at the same time be functional, you know, for the Winter Olympics, which something we don't really see African culture in a cold weather setting like that, you know. How do we make that feel right so they, you know, they come correct, you know, and that's basically what we wanted to do. Anything to add?
Oh, no, you summed it up. I think, again, the biggest challenge was making it technical because of Jordan said the function, the clothes needed to be warm, but also making sure that we honored the culture, because the Olympic stage is the, you know, the perfect stage to showcase your country's culture. And so we wanted to make sure that what we did wasn't just technically cool, but it really spoke to the kind of, you know, the DNA of Nigerianness. And so that was our approach.
Yeah, I like that. So let's talk a little bit about what kind of research you did to come up with the design, because I think for me, I wouldn't have thought to add the agbada, which is like the extra arms, to kind of like the athletic look. Can you talk to us about the research and the work that you did to kind of come up with the design?
Yeah. So, I mean, I love all things like African textiles and all that. I would say maybe about 2 years ago, I kind of fell completely in love with the whole like West African indigo traditions. And so I bought about, I don't know how many books, maybe 10 books, just all discovering research on different African garments. I have a Nigerian weaving book, which is all just about all Nigerian textiles.
So Nigeria, you call it adire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I just did a ton of research on that. But then just from my background in being in sportswear and activewear, I thought, from what material standpoint could we come to kind of reimagine these traditional garments into an activewear setting? And so the first thing was like it needs to be water resistant just in case if it snows. And then we want to have that unexpected part with the adire on the interior. So we know the agbada, as it folds up on the shoulders, you have a full view of the interior as well. So you want to make sure you maximize like both sides of the garment. And so that was really was our statement piece for the look. As you can kind of see on the sketch, we had some more details involved. And just through the production process, some stuff needed to be simplified a little bit, but the main essence of it fully came through. So we were really excited about how it showed up.
Yeah, so the research was a few years in the making, needless to say. And from my standpoint as the graphic designer, you know, sometimes graphic design can be invisible if people don't really think about it as much. But again, I think it's why our skill sets work so well together. Jordan focuses on the silhouette and materials. And for an instance like this, the outfit has to say Nigeria. And so for, you know, a few months before this project even came to be, there are a couple of typefaces that I was considering just because I wanted them for our personal library. And so when this project came up, I knew which one that we should go with, something that felt athletic, but also solid, and also had a bit of character. And so I think ultimately what we chose in the realm of typography, as well as with Jordan's silhouette and materials, just worked really well together.
Very nice. Very nice. I know the kits are gonna be available for sale after the Olympics. Would this particular piece also be
I,
available?
I don't
I
know.
don't, as of right now, I don't think so, but so many people have been asking about it that you might have to figure something out. You know, we have to talk with Lanny, because again, he's been a great partner. And this opportunity would not have come our way if it were not for, you know, the connection with him. So we are really thankful for that. But we got to figure something out because a lot of people have been asking about the Agbada.
That's
So
an iconic piece, yeah.
Yeah. And another awesome thing too is that, you know, it's really difficult right now getting product made for any company, no matter where you work, just because of the pandemic and, you know, backups with shipping and everything. And so we were really blessed to be able to work with a partner that we've been working for about a year or so too, in Afrique Bell, which is a textile company in Nigeria in Lagos, and Lekki Garment Factory as well, because we were able to make these pieces in Nigeria, in Lagos, with handmade, hand-dyed attire as well. So it just was an amazing opportunity to really kind of bridge all of that together, to have the pieces made in Nigeria for Nigeria, to represent the team and to represent the culture. And so it was wonderful, you know, and it really came together like a dream, you know, so well. So that's something that we really focus on just with our own Amen practice is trying to do a lot with like made in Africa, made in Nigeria. It's been the main thing that we've been working with so far. So,
and I think generally too, like we are really intentional, want to be intentional in our design pursuits to connect the diaspora however we can. I'm from the Caribbean, Jordan is from the States. We're working with our factory partners in Nigeria. You know, it feels like a cross-cultural connection, even though we're from the same people. And the interesting thing is through this process, Jordan and I did our DNA or did our ancestry test. And we both overwhelmingly can trace our lineages back to Nigeria. So we feel like
awesome. Welcome to the family.
Yeah, thank you. So it just felt like, again, very divinely orchestrated, and you know, just felt like this really was an opportunity that was for us. And so we're very thankful.
So I love that aspect of collaboration. I know you mentioned Lanny Smith, who brought you guys in the project, but then that aspect of having done some of the production work on the continent, I think is so important. You mentioned Africa's label, or
Afrique Bell.
And then also Lekki Garment Factory. So were there others that were also involved in the process of making the garment?
Yeah, I mean, they were our point people, honestly, you know. And then again, just dealing with Sheun and, you know, getting her feedback, and the rest of the Olympic kind of commission who's in charge of approving the designs and stuff. That was basically our whole team, and Lanny, of course, you know, just his brand being the vehicle to bring it to life, you know. So it is amazing.
Did you guys go through several iterations before you finally came to this one, or was this the first one and everyone just kind of loved it?
Yeah, we had a few different iterations before we got to this point. Originally, you know, I was kind of like trying to figure out how we could do the collection, and Danielle and I were going back and forth with different placements of the graphics and how, you know, which silhouettes to come out. And the Agbada originally was not in the assortment. We actually designed like a snowsuit, like a winter like ski jacket and pants to be focused, and those would have the Adire print on those. But the feedback came from Shegun that like we want something that's gonna be really like stand
Different.
out,
Yeah.
you know. And I was like, I know exactly what to do.
Yeah, you kind of like you knew, like
Yeah.
you low-key knew, but like we're kind of I feel like holding it back a little bit, or like we're like you weren't totally sure. And then when she said that, it was like, okay, bet.
I have it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And then whose idea was it to add the headpieces, the gele? Do you guys know?
That was all part of the look. So
Mhm.
we were like, we know we're gonna have the traditional headwear involved as well. We had gele and we had fila made as well.
Mhm.
But there were no men that actually walked in.
We walked the ceremony, yeah.
I think in the closing ceremony there should be some.
Okay, definitely.
So we'll be able to see the full look.
Yeah.
We didn't mention too that it's reversible.
Yeah.
It's a reversible ankara. So
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so the plan is for the closing ceremony that it will be worn in the reverse. So it will be
Wow.
Adire,
Yeah.
and it will have white on
On the inside. I love that. Wow. So you guys thought about the whole thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really great. I don't know if you have any questions. I don't like hog up all the. Okay, I guess while Papa's coming on, I know internet can be a bit iffy where he is. So what did this mean for you?
Sorry,
Oh,
can you
go
hear
ahead.
me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have to put on my own video so that the network will be better.
That's fine. No worries.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't have any questions for now.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
That's fine. So I guess for me, my question is, did this have any particular kind of significance or meaning to you? I know you talked a bit about it, having discovered that you have some Nigerian heritage. What was the bigger kind of meaning to you to have designed this look for the Nigerian Olympic team?
Yeah, you gonna go first?
Yeah, I mean, again, to expand on this aspect of connecting the diaspora, we both Jordan and I, being where we're from, would have been, descendant of people who would have been enslaved. And so again, it felt like kind of connecting the dots. And it made us feel, I think, complete in a way. Like this was something that we could do in the realm of lending our talents, lending our skill sets back to where we are originally from. And so I think that was the bigger purpose. I think almost in hindsight a little bit as well for us. And I think personally seeing the gratification that our factory partners felt like that to me, I think made me feel better than anything, because we work with women on Nigerian companies to produce the opening ceremony look. And I know that they felt a great sense of pride. Similarly, in the realm of lending their skills and talents for world representation of their country. And so that felt the most satisfying to me. I don't know if you have anything different to add.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially the same thing. Like I just felt like this was almost like the reverse, of how our history has been, and so knowing that, like, I mean, I'm born in America, but I've never contributed to something like this for America, and to have contributed to something like this for Nigeria is it's unbelievable, and I had a sense of like, should we be the ones doing it at first,
Yeah.
But I felt that, well, if we have been given this opportunity, we should do as much as we can to shine light, on people in Nigeria as well, and so that really is why it felt so good to be able to work with our partners on the ground in Lagos to really bring this to life. And hopefully we can continue to invest more with our talents and invest more with whatever business endeavors come to kind of directly build that bridge and build up those companies and build up the industry in Nigeria as much as possible. It feels only right, because I know what I've seen traveling to Asia and different places for my my day jobs that I've had, and just seeing how the apparel industry has really helped to kind of like flourish economies around the world. And if we can kind of direct at least the Black fashion industry through Africa to kind of build like a collective economic approach, I think that would be wonderful. So
that's great. Yeah, definitely. I agree. We need more collaborations like this. I think definitely you guys brought something different, but at the same time, still very much Nigerian to it. So I think the more that we can have perspectives from different sides of the world coming together to help create, I think the things that we create will be much more richer from those collaborations. So definitely, I think so important to have more of those in the work that we do.
Yeah, I agree.
So one last question for you guys, so that we don't keep you too long. Can you just share with us a little bit? I know we've talked about you guys as being based in the US, and most of our work is for people on the African continent. But share with us a bit about your experience as people of color in the fashion and design industry. And if there's anything that needs to be done better for your particular experience, what can be done to make your experience as Black people of color better in the design world?
Yeah, so I'm more fashion adjacent than directly rooted into fashion, but I think a lot of the same issues exist across design industries. And I think Black women are especially quite scarce in these spaces. That's been my experience as a Black graphic designer, Black woman graphic designer. And I think there's certainly questions about who are the gatekeepers, and who grants permission for us to be in those spaces. And then of course there's a question of like, well, why do we need to ask for permission? But all that to say, it's been lonely in a lot of respects. And oftentimes the responsibility is kind of put on you to forge your own path when you don't have a model. And that's certainly been my struggle. And so I guess as a solution to that, certainly mentorship is important. I think what Lanny is doing in building a Black-owned company, and with the intention of seeking out Black talent, is an important way for us to take up space and to express ourselves in a way that is not necessarily, controlled by the white gaze. And so I think that is an incredibly important thing that he's doing. And again, is the reason why we got this opportunity. So I think there needs to be more support for companies like his. Again, back to the mentorship point as well, for us, who, are getting to the point where we have some years under our belt. I think also seeking out younger talent, something that we've been trying to both do more of is teach. That's something that we're also interested in. And so that's how we, at least right now, are directly trying to remedy some of the things we've experienced in our own careers. And I mean, there's so many issues that we enjoy and that persist. And certainly it is going to take collective effort to make things better. But we think we've started small, and we definitely want to continue in the realm of mentorship, in the realm of helping other Black people, Black creators build, and kind of just unselfishly sharing resources. Like I think about Afrique Stabel and Lecky, and the fact that we're kind of telling everybody who's trying to make clothes or who we're working with Like you should get stuff made in Nigeria. We know 2 places. So that's what we hope to keep doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. My experience as a apparel designer it's been up and down. I mean, one of the things I could say is that there's definitely like a tokenization that happens, especially in the sports apparel. So people are looking, when they see Black men fashion designers, you kind of expect that I'm gonna be designing in sportswear or streetwear or something like that. And that's what I've been doing. And one of the things that I've experienced a lot is just kind of is like an exploitative type of thing where, companies definitely want to take your credibility, want to take your cultural relevance, use it for their own, but then not see that investment back into the community where you come from, and or they will allow Black talent to be the face of, the campaign or whatever, but the people behind the scenes have nothing to do with it, or no one of our culture to have anything to do with it. So in the decision-making processes. And so I think just by seeing how much of a splash this Olympic, situation just made, it shows that when you have Black talent who understands what the process is to do things professionally and to, represent ourselves, make our own decisions, we do a great job, and especially then when we collaborate with each other, across the seas and everything like that, we can do that, and I think that's the biggest thing, is that we need to begin to look inward, look at ourselves and see where we can help each other with the experiences that we've had, because the results will be much more fruitful. And you won't feel like you did it in spite of, something else that could have gone wrong, or the other people finally let you do something, this was something we did for ourselves, by ourselves, really, and it was amazing. So that's one of the things I think, as people of color in the industry, we should connect with each other more, help share our experiences while we are, maybe not working for Black-owned companies and things like that, but support each other as much as you can, and and do what you can to help the youth coming forward, behind you. So.
Awesome. I definitely agree. I agree. And I think for my part, like I said, I think your story is so great. The design work that you did is awesome. It's amazing. I hope you guys get more media coverage. I hope you guys get like the book deal out of it. I will definitely buy that book, or the designs that you did beforehand and the thought process. I'll buy that. Hope you have a documentary done, because an awesome story. You guys get to exhibit the work that you did in the museum, because again, I think it's something that's really iconic that deserves to be, shared and over again, and hopefully passed down in history. So thank you so much. Thank you for spending the few minutes you did with us today, and hopefully look forward to engaging more with you in the future.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you both.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We're looking forward to having you in the future editions. If you're not already doing so, follow us on our social media on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. We are Biased in African Fashion. On Twitter, we are Biased in African Fashion with just FSHN and without the vowels, that is. Thank you again, and have a wonderful Valentine's Day and the rest of the week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
I'm gonna stop the recording.